They say that beauty is subjective, that it's in the eye of the beholder, that there's no accounting for taste, but honestly that's a load of crap. Any creative mind who has studied their subject for 5 minutes knows that there are rules and codes that have stood the test of time and serve as a guide for creating beautiful works. Consider the rule of thirds in photography, or the golden ratio, the mathematical rule of proportion found from the Egyptian pyramids to modern buildings. These codes provide a framework for us to play, experiment, and create beauty. In the automotive world, everyone has their own opinion. You might prefer this over that, or that over this. And it's exactly this diversity that makes our passion so beautiful. Few cars are universally considered beautiful, but that's the case with today's topic, the Jaguar F-Type. I'm discussing it because it's beautiful, elegant, and above all, because it's gone. Jaguar will discontinue the production of a British-style icon that has amazed us for a decade in 2024, even if it wasn't your favorite model. True enthusiasts will recognize that the F-Type's discontinuation signals the end of an era, a trend observed across many brands worldwide. The disappearance of small, passionate, sporty coupes with combustion engines from manufacturers' lineups. For ecological reasons, it's a bit like if all restaurants were forced to agree to only offer us bland salads, on the pretext that it's a bit less bad for your health. So no matter what you think of this F-Type, the discontinuation of this model is definitely bad news. In this video, we'll pay tribute to it, explore its history, and analyze its design, to reveal the secret of this soon departing beauty. Imagine a world without music, without colors in a sunset, without spices in a Mexican dish. The disappearance of small sports coupes in the automotive industry is a prime example of this trend. Contrary to what the fragile, rather narrow-minded voices who want to ban everything think. For enthusiasts, these cars are more than just transportation. They are iconic symbols of style and passion. It's hard to imagine a world without them, but it's coming. The Jaguar F-Type is the latest casualty. But its disappearance is not just the end of a model, it's the extinction of an entire family. Yes, our English beauty belongs to a prestigious line of historically significant sports cars. She is the direct descendant of two iconic models, the Jaguar XK120 and the famous E-Type. Launched after the war in 1948, the XK120 was immediately recognized as one of the fastest and most elegant sports cars of its time. It's the very essence of a sports coupe, a long, very low profile with a gigantic hood that evokes power and speed. The XK120's imposing vertical grille had a dominant presence that became a characteristic feature of subsequent Jaguars. The prominent fenders that wrap around the wheels give it a sense of motion even when stationary, a trait shared by the muscular design of the F-Type. And in the 1960s the E-Type appeared, which is often considered one of the most impressive cars of its time, with its combination of performance and stunning design. Enzo Ferrari, an expert on the subject, considered it the most beautiful car ever made. This Jaguar E-Type is one of the most iconic silhouettes in the automotive world. You don't need to be a British aristocrat to recognize its design instantly. We'll see that together a bit later. The F-Type, while modern, carries the DNA of its legendary predecessors. By observing its curves and details, you can see nods to history, reminding us of a time when Jaguar set the standards for automotive beauty and performance. In addition to the XK120 and E-Type, other iconic Jaguar coupes, particularly the XK series following the XJS, likely influenced the F-Type's design. The XJS, like the E-Type, featured a V12 engine. The car was theoretically considered the E-Type's successor, tasked with following an icon's footsteps. Its angular silhouette and rectangular headlights marked a turning point in Jaguar's design. Appearing during the oil crisis and criticized for its design, the XJS had a hard time finding its place in the market and was replaced in 1996 by the XK series. The XK models were Jaguar's flagship sports coupes before the F-Type, with flowing lines and an elegant silhouette echoing the E-Type, but with a modern flair hinting at the future F-Type, especially from 2006 on. These models shaped Jaguar's style, merging tradition and modernity. But the XJS, XK8 and XK were all too soft, too comfortable, but ultimately not satisfying enough to drive to be considered true heirs. 4 decades post the iconic Type E's end, the Type F seamlessly continued its legacy, revolutionizing the sports car scene. This is a positive development, as the decision to manufacture the car was spearheaded by Ratan Tata, the car enthusiast and Tata Group chairman who had acquired Jaguar Land Rover when the project began. One of the reasons for its design was to steal some market share from another absolute beauty, the Porsche 911. Obviously the 911 is a reference. Despite its prestigious badge, Jaguar lacked the technical power and reliability of its German competitors. Despite the fierce competition, the English car had compelling aesthetic advantages that made it a formidable contender. With its endless hood and its roofline flowing all the way to the rear bumper, the Type E set new standards in automotive design. The F-Type is clearly inspired by this silhouette, especially in the way the cabin is almost sitting on the rear wheels, and the connection is also evident inside. Just like the F-Type, the Type E had a driver-focused cockpit with controls and instruments arranged ergonomically. The modernized first-generation F-Type's front end subtly recalls the Type E, with headlights crossed by the beltline and elegantly integrated into the fenders. Despite these similarities, the Type F's strength lies in not being a mere revival of its ancestor. Jan Callum, then Jaguar's design director, said, "If you want a Type E, buy one. It's beautiful but belongs to another era." Seeing the cars together reveals the stark contrast, one modern, the other a relic of the past. Of course, the Type E was on our minds when we designed the F-Type, but I told my team to forget about it. When starting the project, it was very clear to him. The F-Type was not supposed to be a retro E, despite internal pressure to precisely reproduce the silhouette of the 60s. For Jan, resemblance stems from fundamental principles, not imitation of existing entities. And that's what makes it unique. Just like you're not a perfect copy of your father when he was your age. You take on some of his traits since you share the same genetic base to which you add your own individuality. The Jaguar F-Type is the same. Despite its prestigious DNA's subtle expression, it became an icon with a series of distinctive stylistic features. And the first and most important element is its proportions. It's a car with a long, low silhouette typical of classic sports cars. This line is accentuated by its long hood and set-back cabin, essential features of racing and prestige cars. Engines have historically increased the number of cylinders for more power. And prestigious cars therefore had long hoods, which were necessary to house the large engines that powered high-performance vehicles. These large engines required a significant amount of space, and I think the best example to illustrate this for you is still the legendary Bugatti Royal Type 41, with its 12-liter inline 8-cylinder engine and its 6 meters in length. Now, we know how to make much more compact engines, but aesthetically a long hood still evokes a sense of power, luxury and prestige. Its large, bold grille and slim headlights that blend elegantly into the hood give it an aggressive look and the piercing gaze of a predator. Like a cat on the prowl, the 2019 Phase 3 F-Type has an even larger grille and ultra-slim horizontal headlights, which was not technically possible for the first version from 2013. The new headlights visually widen and lower the car, echoing the design of the very horizontal taillights. Personally, I favored the first version, which evokes more of the Grand Touring spirit, similar to what's seen on the new Aston Martin DB12. Give me your opinion in the comments about which version you prefer. Another distinctive feature of the F-Type is the centrally positioned exhaust outlets. One on the 4-cylinder, two on the 6-cylinder models, but not on the V8 versions where they're located on the left and right. It's another styling element that adds symmetry to the rear and obviously pays a subtle tribute to the E-Type. Inside, as we mentioned earlier, the cabin wraps around the driver and the quality of the presentation is definitely there. With its fine leather, contrasting stitching, and aluminum details. We're in the British tradition of automotive luxury. The Jaguar F-Type artfully combines British elegance, performance, and finesse. A design embodying the brand's essence and the evolution of modern automotive styling, yet its story ends here. The death sentence of a car model, especially one as iconic as the Jaguar F-Type. It's rarely due to a single factor, but rather a combination of factors, including changing customer preferences. Since the car's invention, auto market trends have changed. Sedans were popular in the 60s and 70s. As seen in a previous video, SUVs have surged in popularity in recent years. The F-Type sports coupe has fallen victim to the shift in consumer preferences, similar to the transition from disco to pop and then to rap music. Tastes change in every industry. It's worth noting that the F-Type competed against giants like the Porsche 911 and Chevrolet Corvette, despite Jaguar being a small manufacturer. It's a bit like being a goldfish in a pond with sharks. Swimming fast and being unique is crucial to avoid being overtaken. Despite its stunning style, our Jag fell short compared to the 911, which remains the benchmark, surpassing it in all aspects. Producing sports cars is costly, particularly when sales are low. Many iconic cars failed due to high production costs and poor sales. Ultimately, sales are the key factor in a car's success. One major factor that devastated our English cars' prospects was the exorbitant ecological penalty. The F-Type, with its minimum of 300 horsepower, is one of the first to fall into the category of symbols to be taken down. So when you want to buy it, the government says, "Hold on a second, this beauty pollutes a bit too much for my taste, so I'm going to make you pay even more." It's like you want a 20-euro burger, but they charge you an extra 10 euros for the ketchup. Consequently, fewer buyers could afford this model, not due to lack of desire, but because the price was exorbitant. Jaguar, having announced a full transition to electric vehicles by 2025, chose to cease operations in this context. The F-Type is more than a car. It's a model that ignites a passion for automobiles and an appeal for beauty, power, and design. Personally, I will always have fond memories of it. On my last day at Land Rover, I left the office one final time. I remained in the parking lot for an hour to admire the F-Type Project 7 cars parked there before heading home. Now we'll have to enjoy every time we see one on our streets and gradually imagine a world without it. A world where its iconic silhouette will no longer turn heads. A world where the distinctive roar of combustion engines will be progressively eliminated from our streets. A world without an affordable sports coupe is like a pizza without cheese. Technically, it's still a pizza, but is it really the pizza we want? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the channel and Instagram Le Designer Auto for daily automotive design analysis. And to finish this special video, I suggest we conclude with a little tribute in pictures to the wonderful Jaguar F-Type.